Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to grid your photograph and then grid your drawing paper. And excuse my hands, remember I said over the weekend I was cleaning up my yard and got stung by some wasps a few times, so my hands are really swollen. This is not how they would usually look. I couldn't even wear rings anymore, but so pardon the swollen hands. All right, so you're going to start with your photograph, and remember it should be half the size of your drawing paper, so my in-person students will get a 9x12 drawing paper. So their photograph should be 4.5 inches by 6 inches. And we're going to start by marking every ½ inch. So the ½ inch, here's the 1 inch mark where the number is. The ½ inch is the long one in the middle. These two shorter ones are 1/4 inch marks. So I call these tick marks. Make it ½ inch, inch, ½ inch, 2 inches, ½ inch, 3 inches, ½ inch, 4 inches. Okay, so my photo is a little bit short. So I'll go ahead and make a square. We can fix those kind of things. And then I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. ½ inch, 1, I think you're still on the screen, ½ inch 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and then I'm making up this part here. Okay, when you're gridding your photograph, you want to use probably a pen or something that you can definitely see your grid lines. You need to line up your tick marks. You can't just wing it, because then you won't have perfect squares. You'll have like these wobbly rectangles, which means your drawing will then be out of proportion. So I just go across and I match up the tick marks. This is my Boy Scout, if you haven't recognized him already. He's quite photogenic. So that tick mark looks a little bit off here. I must not have gotten the full ½ inch. Yep, there it is. After a while, you'll be able to eyeball when it's on and when it's off. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. ½ inch, 1, ½ inch, 2, ½ inch, 3, ½ inch, 4, ½ inch, 5, ½ inch, 6. ½ inch 1, ½ inch 2, ½ inch 3, ½ inch 4, ½ inch 5, ½ inch 6. Okay, and then the same thing, I'll just do a few of them so you'll kind of get the gist. You line up the tick marks all the way down. Okay, and you keep on going until you have all the grids done. So then you should basically have really good squares right there. Because it's ½ inch on a 4.5 inch photograph, we should have 9 squares going across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. So that'll work for my 9 inch paper. Going down, we should have 12 on the 6 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So awesome. Okay, so I would just continue matching the tick marks and keep on going across. So when it comes to your paper though, you want to do this grid super light, like so light you can barely see it. Use your number 2 pencil and do like really light tick marks. Now this time on the paper you're going to do 1 inches, so don't do ½ inch this time, just do 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have a little extra paper I can just trim off later. You can tell I'm not perfect on the cutting board. So my off camera, yeah, I have a little bit. So down here now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So line up your tick marks, and this time you are going to lightly drag your pencil. Like, I'm not pushing really hard. I'm just going to really lightly drag it. You can kind of spin as you go too. See, you probably, hopefully can't even really see that. I can see it well enough to draw, but you should barely be able to see it. That's because in our final drawing, we don't want these grid marks to show. And if you draw them really dark, when you try to erase, it'll be hard to erase them. And even if you manage to erase them all the way, a lot of times it'll leave an indent in the paper that when you try to shade there, it will leave like a white line. So then you'll have like a white grid through your drawings. Okay, so same thing, you go all the way across the 9 inches, and then you mark every inch down the 12 side, and then do your grid in that direction. So let me just do one so you can see an actual couple squares here. I'll do a couple. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. So again, I line these up. They're so light I can barely see them, which is exactly how I want them. Very lightly, just drag that pencil. So if you're right on top of your drawing, you'll be able to see your grid lines, but from a distance you shouldn't be able to. Okay, so now we have our squares here. And what you're gonna do next, many steps to this, you're gonna get a scrap piece of paper and you're gonna draw an inch square, and then you're gonna cut it out. A lot of times you can just kind of fold your paper and start with the scissors and then fold and cut it out there. And you're also gonna do a 1/2 inch. These are called our viewfinders. So when we're starting to draw, I'll line up the first 1/2 inch square, and then I'm gonna draw in the corresponding 1 inch square up here. Now, when we're drawing a square at a time, you're not thinking about what it is that you're drawing, you're just looking at shapes. So you can see I have like this light shape right there, and then a darker one, and then a lighter one, and then a little dark triangle. I can tell how dark to go because you made these value scales yesterday. You want to poke a hole in each of the steps. If you have a hole punch, that's great. If not, just poke a good hole. And then I'll run my value scale over my picture, and I'll see exactly, so this gray area here, I can see exactly how dark I need to go. I think it's a little bit darker. Okay, that's pretty close right there. See, hopefully you can't even tell the difference. And then my really dark area, that one there, is gonna be as dark as I can go. So if you look at Scout, he's a light colored dog, but if I run my value scale over him, he's a pretty light step around up on the top of his forehead. But then if you go to this shadow side of his face, I'm gonna have to go probably this far down between these two. Okay, so his lighter values are like a step 2 or 3 on the light side, and then his darker values are like a 7 or an 8. So you're gonna start drawing by starting in the first square on your photo, and then the first square on your drawing, and you're just gonna work yourself a square at a time. You're not gonna think, oh, that's the dog's head, or that's the dog's eye. You're just gonna look at shapes. Like if we look at the shape of what we know is his eye, see how there's lots of different values and shapes. See how there's like this medium gray triangle, and then a dark gray, a very dark gray half circle, and then a lighter gray half circle. And then there's these little, really probably step 2 spots. On those, you can shade around them. So you're leaving the lighter part of the paper, because it'd be kind of hard to erase out those really tiny little white spots. Okay, so before you start doing your shading, you should have your photograph gridded, your drawing paper gridded, your value scale done with the holes, your viewfinder for the 1 inch, and then your viewfinder for the 1/2 inch. You're gonna take a picture of this whole setup just like this. You're gonna show me that you gridded your photo, you gridded your paper, you've done your value scale, and then you've done your 2 squares. This will be due on, let's see, I'm gonna say Wednesday. I think you can get it done tomorrow, Tuesday, but let's say Wednesday just in case someone's absent, and then you can get caught up. Okay? Good luck, guys. Any questions, just feel free to email me.